This is my presentation on constructivism. Alright, what is constructivism? It teaches us how to think and understand. It moves us away from theories that students are empty vessels and moves us more towards incorporating what our students already know so that they can use that to help them better learn in their environment. Okay, two primary theorists are Jean Piaget and John Dewey. The first, Jean Piaget, which I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right, believed that people learn by building on what they already know. And he concluded that children learn and think completely different than adults do. And how he applied this theory and the implications of this theory are what shaped the foundation for the constructionist education. One of his quotes were, this is right here, are we forming children who are only capable of learning what is already known, or should we try to develop creative and innovative minds capable of discovering from preschool age on throughout life? I really like that quote by him. Next we have John Dewey, and he called for education to be grounded in real experience. He also wrote that if you have doubts about learning what happens, engage in sustained inquiry, to study, ponder, consider alternative possibilities, and to arrive at your belief grounded in evidence. And because of him, inquiry today is a key part in the constructionist learning. He also had a quote that I liked. It's if we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we rob them of tomorrow, which I believe. Next we'll go into traditional learning versus constructivism learning. Traditional learning is very teacher-centered. The teacher is the one giving the information to the students, and they just sit and listen and take notes. In a constructivism learning environment, it's very student-centered. The students are actually given information like the teacher is. The teacher learns from her students as well as them learning from her. The next is curriculum. In a traditional classroom, curriculum is viewed as parts of a whole. It emphasizes on basic skills instead of the skill as a one. The fixed curriculum is the main focus in a traditional classroom, and the main materials are textbooks and workbooks. But in a constructivism classroom, it's the complete opposite, where curriculum is looked at as a whole, and then it just expands to include the parts. Students, they can question, and their interests are valued highly, unlike fixed curriculum is not the main focus in a constructivism classroom. And manipulatives are the main form of materials. Students are also viewed as equals. They're not viewed to be empty vessels like they once were, to where the teachers are just pouring in the knowledge. They're actually there. They actually help to learn their own through their own processes. They use the knowledge that they already know, and the students' interests are considered when things are being learned how to taught, how they're going to be taught. The students' interests are taken into account with that. The students work. They're actively involved. They are not sitting behind the desk all day. They are working in groups mainly instead of just individually like they have in the past. The teachers are also no longer completely in front of the board. Instead of being in front of the classroom and being superior to their students, they are mingling amongst the students and interacting with them. Assessment. Assessment used to be strictly tests and workbook pages and papers. It has evolved from that. It is no longer strictly tests. It is students' works such as posters, portfolios, and other creations that they make. Also, teachers assess through observations that they themselves do, as well as student observations. Lastly, we're going to talk about the PAR model of learning, which means PAR means present, apply, and review. This model of learning relates to the ways that a constructivist teacher would teach, with the first step being to present the knowledge to the students and to give them examples of what you were trying to teach them. In this step, the teacher can also ask for questions, and the students can openly question what's happening. I mean, if they don't understand something, then this is the step that they will do that. They'll ask the questions, and the teacher will answer them in the best they can do, which sometimes will lead to group discussions. The next step is to apply that knowledge. The teacher will assign an activity for the students to do, such as like a poster or a presentation, evaluations, case studies. There are many more things that they could do to apply this knowledge that was taught to them in the previous step. Lastly, they're going to go over and review this because they need that reassurance that they did it right, that they're not going to forget something. They can ask questions about stuff that they didn't understand or stuff that they discovered during the apply stage. And the teacher can clarify these things and maybe even learn something herself. Even short quizzes or tests are good for the review stage. An example or a scenario that could be used and to apply to this model would be like going over the rock cycle. In the presentation stage, the teacher can ask the students what they already know about the rock cycle, and then she can build on that information to expand their knowledge and to hopefully teach them something that they didn't know before. In the apply stage, she can have them create something such as a poster and divide them up into groups, and they can each work on a certain step of the rock cycle, or they can work on the cycle as a whole. Also, they can and then later on they'll put them in the correct order on the board or something up at the front where everyone can see it. In the review stage, they can go over the entire cycle as a group, and each group's poster saying that if somebody forgot something, then they can say it then, and that way that everybody knows all of the information, and if they did forget something, then it can be brought back up and the people in the class can help each other out.